Okay.
Oh my God, it worked! I can't believe it worked! After everything we went through this morning, I can't believe it worked!
Yes, and we are live, by the way.
That's
Hello,
okay.
folks.
That's
Nice to see you.
That's okay. I'm just so shocked that it worked.
This is,
So,
as you can see, this
people
is
can hear us. Right? I mean,
if
assuming
they tune in, well, when they see it again, because when we're done, it's going to be on the website. So people will be you'll be able to look at it yourself and go, oh my God, what did I just say?
Oh my God, I need a stylist. So do you. I need to have my teeth fixed. I need to wear eyebrow pencil. I have no eyebrows.
Welcome, folks. This is Agatha Christie. They watched the inaugural episode of the rebooted series, this time with video.
and sound.
Well, you had sound. We had sound before we did the podcast. We did a podcast of about 60 episodes. You remember?
Oh, that's right. Yes, I do remember. I really do. I swear. It's just that this is why I'm the talent, folks.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes,
but we
do
we did 60 episodes of our podcast, and now we're trying this live stream experiment, and we'll see what happens.
Yes, it means you get to see me as well as hear me.
That's right. And we're going to be talking about the Abenteurer G.m.B.H, which is Adventurers Incorporated. This is a silent movie. It was Agatha Christie. It was the second movie made of Agatha Christie's stories.
Yes, and the Abenteurer, it was written by a German screenwriter named G.m.B.H. She was very prolific in the German film industry, died at Auschwitz. But she G.m.B.H. set the mold for Agatha Christie film adaptations, and really for anybody out there in Hollywood, which is to change the characters, starting with their names, changing their relationships, changing the storyline, changing the plot, all kinds of things. Because why on earth would you actually film what Agatha Christie wrote, or any author for that matter, when you can make it better? And sometimes you can make it better. Yes,
but
yes, it is true.
There was some things when we saw it again last night that they kept to the script. They kept to the story with some changes.
They kept to the story better than I remembered, because one of the problems, of course, folks, with the movie reviewing that we do is we only get to watch a movie once, and you really need to watch a movie twice or even 3 times to really get an idea of what the heck they were trying to do, because it is also overwhelming at first, and you miss all kinds of things. And one of the problems, boy, is my face twisted. It's like I have Bell's palsy. Anyway,
we'll put up a survey later to say what is wrong with Teresa's face, with several different options. So stay tuned, folks.
This is why I don't photograph well, but this is why
I
have a personality I have a face made for radio. No
That's
question.
my line.
But yeah, watching the Abenteurer the second time around, I had a much better idea of how closely they came, how fairly close they were to the novel. There was a lot of changes, particularly Jane Finn. She not only do all the characters get their name changed, and of course you're no longer on board the Lusitania, because this was made for a German audience as well as for the rest of the world, and they were a little sensitive about the Lusitania. So about sinking the Lusitania by German U-boats. So okay, well, we'll just make all of that go away. But you open with probably a good 5 to 10 minutes worth of screen time of Jeanette Finn and her brother. They are both apparently super spies with some very important documents hidden in this wax sealed envelope, wax everywhere. And oh my God, they have to get it to the right people, and they're being hunted. And then the Herculinia sinks for no discernible reason that I could tell, other than it was necessary for the plot. There certainly wasn't any mention of German U-boats.
Yeah. But what they actually did, though, was, and we should back up a little bit, because this is based on the novel featuring Tommy and Tuppence, Christie's kind of third-rate characters
Okay, I'm
behind,
going to try and move very carefully so I don't run over any important plugs and
or plot points.
and disconnect us.
Okay.
I'm sure I will disconnect us.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons why we're doing this is, of course, because we annotated, and I hope everybody can see this, we annotated The Secret Adversary. So we're actually quite familiar with the story. And for those of you, because we've run into this, for those of you who don't know what an annotation is, that means, and I don't know if this is even showing, but you get the complete text. And then you get footnotes at the bottom of the text, which you do not have to read if you do not want to. You have footnotes at the bottom of the text explaining things like the why the Lusitania was sunk.
Yeah.
So here we are, like I said, with The Secret Adversary, with the Abenteurer, and it is only the second Agatha Christie property that was filmed. The first one was The Passing of Mr. Quin, which is lost. We know a little tiny bit about it from publicity stills at the time, and somebody novelized it, and the novel had nothing to do with what Agatha Christie actually wrote in the original short stories. So the Abenteurer is it. And
it's a German, I think it was kind of a multi-production. So there's German, it was French, I think French subtitles.
And what
Dutch
looked like
subtitles.
Dutch. They didn't look German to me.
French
they looked
and
like
Dutch, at least that particular version. But then the thing about silent movies is it's easy to translate. You just cut out their title cards and insert a title card for your nationality, and this is difficult to find. I managed to find it online
a couple of years
ago in 2011, and it might have been on YouTube, and it might have been in Daily Motion, but you can't find it anymore.
Boy, I really need eyebrow pencil. Look at
now,
that.
Stay on target, dear. Stay on target. So what we have is an 1 hour and 5 minute silent movie telling the story, and you can tell
have it listed as 1 hour and 16 minutes.
Oh, 1 hour 16. Okay. All right. 1 hour and 16 minutes. But we know that there's the last reel is missing, the last probably 12 minutes of it, because it ends.
Just stops.
It just
stops when Mr. Brown suddenly keels over. Apparently Bill thinks he ate cyanide, but I didn't see that. It just stops, and there's at least one reel missing somewhere where Tommy ends up escaping up through some kind of he crab walks like a Brazilian murderer in the Westchester County jail system.
We're gonna have to annotate this now. Explain that.
For those of you who visit Longwood Gardens and have followed Longwood Gardens on their Instagram and their Twitter, you know exactly what I'm talking about escaped Brazilian murderers. But anyway, so he crab walks his way up this shaft to this metal grate, which is quite heavy because people have to be able to walk on it. And suddenly there's this flicker. Suddenly he's on a tightrope walking between buildings carrying a ladder for balance. And you wonder, where the heck did the ladder come from, and where did the tightrope come from, and how did he end up there? Yeah. And I think the film quality was just terrible. And you watch this and you think that the movie industry, the silent film industry, didn't know what they were doing, and they knew exactly what they were doing. Well,
they did have some things. Okay, it was a silent movie, but there was no music overlay like you usually see with silent movies.
Yeah, silent movies were not actually silent because you had an organist or a pianist in the theater playing along, to rev you up and to settle you down and say, oh my gosh, this is so wonderful.
But also they were using all the tricks that D.W. Griffith helped pioneer, and there were other people who pioneered because they had cameras zooming in, they had close-ups, they would show people's faces and then cut away to establishing shots. They were doing all that.
Mm-hmm. But they had people moving around, they had interior scenes, they had exterior scenes, they had stunts, they had everything that you would expect to see in a movie. But the film quality was so terrible that you really couldn't see what was going on a lot of the time. And as I said, I think there are sections that were clearly missing.
Yeah.
And it's like even some places where they could have used a title card and they didn't have one. And so we have no idea what the original film looked like to the original audience back in 1929, except that I know for sure that it had an ending and it was a lot clearer and sharper. It would have been very, very sharp.
So what G.m.b.H also did was she got into the action early on by showing you the sinking of I can't even remember now what
Herculaneum.
Yeah, Herculaneum. And Tommy's on board. He's a stoker.
He's a stoker. He is the most muscular Tommy you have ever seen. Of any of the Tommies that you have ever envisioned, none of them have the biceps and chest of it is actually Carlo Aldini. He's an Italian actor. Absolutely none of them have that physique.
Yeah, he was a hunk. He would have been fit right into a Marvel movie nowadays.
He wouldn't,
as
and
an
it was
Italian
all real
superhero.
too. There were no steroids at the time, so when you were admiring Carlo Aldini in a painted-on T-shirt, that's all real.
That's a big hunk of Italian sausage there. Absolutely. And Tuppence is on board as well.
It's a reminder we have to go to the Weightlifting Hall of Fame.
Okay,
sorry.
That's true.
I get easily distracted.
Yeah, but there's Tommy and Tuppence, instead of meeting on the streets of London in the demobilization after the war, they're on board the ship themselves.
Yeah, we know Tommy is a stoker. We don't actually know, again, missing scenes, missing title cards. We think that Tuppence was also on board the ship. We think now, at the time when we watched it the first time, and I'll have to rewrite my review for the second edition of Agatha Christie she watched, but at the time, we weren't sure how they knew each other at all, because Tommy was a stoker, and the only reason we think that Tuppence was on board the ship is that all of these people were being interviewed by Marglin, who is the chief of the Secret Service. They're all being interviewed. Where is Jane Finn? Do you know where Jane Finn is? We're trying to find Jane Finn, because they have on the list of bodies her brother. And yes, Jane Finn has a brother who is a super spy. But
Jane Finn escaped with the letter that everybody is going after, the MacGuffin.
Yeah, and it looks like Tuppence was maybe a stewardess.
We figure she was, because she's poor.
Well, she may have been poor, but those are some really fashionable clothes and really nice furs that she had.
Berlin magic, dear. Not Hollywood. It's Berlin magic.
Well, there were some, poor women in Berlin obviously wore some really nice furs. But she must have been on board the ship because Tommy and Tuppence knew each other. Mm-hmm. And we'll use those names because you weren't going to know who they are, because
Pierre and
talking.
Lucien.
And they both ended up being interviewed by Mr. Marglin about where is Jane Finn. And it was kind of unclear, but that's why they decide, because they're absolutely broke, although she could have sold her furs and he could have sold the tux that he wears later, that they're going to be, their first case as young adventurers is, let's go looking for Jane Finn, because obviously something is up with Jane Finn. That's why they were both interviewed, and it took 2 viewings of the film to come to this understanding.
Right, and of course, as in the book, they're overheard. The villain overhears the Jane Finn remark and decides to investigate, and Tuppence basically blackmails him
into giving her a lot of money.
Giving him a lot of money, which is not quite well established in this context of the movie itself, but clearly you can tell, because Tommy's going to meet her later, and she rolls up in a taxi, and he's standing there on the street gobsmacked, and then she's waving all these bills around, and in
1929, for young women who were previously poor to be waving around money is really, really suspicious, because you wonder, how did they earn this money?
Yes, but Tommy and Tuppence are they were childhood friends, so he's
think,
definitely
maybe?
not going. Well, in the book,
in the book they are. In the book they are, but in this film,
yeah, that's true too.
We just have to guess. We have to go with what we see on screen.
Yeah, and meanwhile, there is another. They're following the Jane Finn story, in which she gets kidnapped by the villains, and she's locked in a bedroom, and she is there. She was being befriended. That's right, Rita Vandermeer, who is in the novel too, befriends her and takes her to her place for her to recover. And
Jane Finn quickly discovers that she is a prisoner, and you get this lengthy scene, and it shows, a silent movie actress can act, that she has to figure out what to do with the letter, and she ends up sealing which was rather clever, where you soften the sealing wax just enough under the heat of a light bulb that you can squeeze out the letter and then put everything back so it looks like it's never been opened.
Right.
And she ends up...
but she hides the letter, but keeps the envelope so that they can discover it.
They find the envelope, but they don't find the contents.
And she was also given, a glass of warm milk with a little straw in it.
And she does figure it out. She finally remembers her spy school lessons and figures out that, I probably don't want to be drinking this. And
she dumps it out the window and then pretends to fall asleep so that the villains can come in, find the letter, and she can spy on them in return.
Yeah, it shows that,
So,
she's
smart.
She's not she's not just a shrieking damsel. She is thinking.
Mhm.
She is thinking, and she was quite shocked, the drowning of everybody on board the Herculinea,
And the death of her
and
brother.
the death of her brother, and who are these people and what am I going to do? And she's stuck.
Mhm.
She is stuck.
So the rest of the movie is of basically Tommy and Tuppence, following the trail. They run into the rich American who is not
yes, who is also named George.
Yeah.
So you have Jeanette Finn and her brother Georges Finn, and then the rich American is George Hayward. So you have two Georges.
Yeah.
And it is just the second George ends up being this comic relief. And you never get this is why we know the last reel is missing, because it isn't just that Mr. Brown falls over.
The villain behind the whole thing.
The villain behind the whole thing falls over from ingesting cyanide, which I did not see. And I totally missed that.
It was so quick. I think you had to look at this and go, oh, I know what he's doing, because that's what he does in the book. He kills himself with poison.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He did, didn't he? It's been a long time.
Yeah.
But George Hayward, the rich American cousin, rich enough to stay at the Savoy,
Mm-hmm.
He never has his reconciliation with Jane. And as in the novel, he doesn't know her as an adult. He has her picture. He knows that they're related. And Agatha, I have to say, did a better job of trying to make sure that he didn't know who she was, even though he knew who she was, because this one you're thinking, wow, it's like you read the newspaper article, the newspaper advertisement, and decided that you were going to get involved.
Mm-hmm.
So it works sort of well, but again, it's hard to tell because so much of the movie is missing and the quality of the film was so terrible.
Yeah, but it has its pleasures, if only because you're seeing Agatha being portrayed on the screen, her work being portrayed on the screen for the first time, and it'll run from 29 to 75. When was Orient Express?
The Orient Express, the one with Albert Finney, was released in 1974.
74,
and,
yeah. So it's the start of
1928. 1928
years.
is the start with the passing of Mr. Quinn. And yeah, Agatha was on screen from very, very early.
Very beginning, yeah.
And she very rarely liked what she saw on the screen because it nearly always was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Pretty, not always bad, but not what she wrote and not what she envisioned, but the checks cashed and, well,
That's the rest. Now, do you want to talk about why we're here and what we're going to do in the future? Because we're going to be, every Thursday, we're going to be trying to come out and talk to you like this, maybe with some improvements along the way. Maybe separate microphones one of these days. One can dream.
One can dream. But yeah, we want to, because we're Peschel Press and we are a business. And so we want to rewatch and the films and then discuss them the following morning. We're going to do all three Secret Adversaries, which means God save me, I'm going to have to watch David Williams and Jessica Raine a second time. No, a third time.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Please let the new... Supposedly they're going to remake the Secret Adversary, and whatever they're doing, it can't be worse than that. One would hope.
One would
hope. But we're going to do the three Secret Adversaries. Then we're going to do the two Man in the Brown Suit. Yes, the Man in the Brown Suit was filmed twice. One, Les Petites Demorites, which is the French TV series that adapted 40-some Agathas. They did a remarkable job. Sometimes truly terrible, and other times truly great and truly French. And then The Secret of Chimneys, which is one of the worst Agatha Christie film adaptations you will ever see. And then we're going to do...
Giving it away. You shouldn't... spoilers.
You can't...
I know, you can't help yourself.
I can't help myself. And then we're going to do the... I'm blanking out. The Poirots. We're going to do the Poirots. We're going to do Mysterious Affair at Styles. There are 3 versions of that.
Murder on the Links.
Then Murder on the Links, 2 versions of that, and then the Murder of Roger Ackroyd. And there are 4 versions of that film. And then when we're finished with the Agathas, and we're going to only do the ones that are connected with the annotated books that we have written that are only available in the United States, then we're going to move on to the films of Dorothy Sayers. And yes, this is part of the Dorothy Sayers project. We're going to be watching the all of the Dorothy Sayers film adaptations, and why there are not more, I do not know, because if you loved Downton Abbey and you like detective stories and you think about Lord Peter the Duke's brother solving murders and you think, wow, boy, are they missing out on this. And this is all to get us set up for our big new movie project, the one that is going to follow Agatha Christie. She watched back there, and I'm trying to do this the right direction. International Agatha Christie she watched.
Yes.
We're going to do Jane Austen she watched. We are going to watch and evaluate and review all the films of Jane Austen. So we're learning as we go how to make this work. Oh, and I just realized there's a little clock up there on the screen. I can see how long we've talked.
Yeah, 21 minutes.
I had no idea.
Well, you'll learn. You'll learn. We're all learning as we're going.
This is why I'm the talent. I am not the tech.
And
here.
I'm the tech, and I managed to botch it up pretty good right now. So, but fortunately,
it's working now.
we're
It's
bouncing
working
back.
now.
We'll bounce back and we'll go forward. That's all you can do in this YouTube universe.
That's right. That's right. So we are moving forward. We are bouncing forward. And I can't think of anything else I want to say about the Abenteurer, except that, like I said, G.m.b.H sets the stage essentially for not just Agatha Christie adaptations, but for all film adaptations from books to movies in general, which is have your way with it and do what you want.
Yep.
We'll be here next week, Thursday, hopefully at 11:30 in the morning, like we
originally planned before.
And then we will do the Francesca Annis and James Warwick adaptation of The Secret Adversary. And in fact, we have to check the length of that. We may not be able to watch it all Wednesday night. Was that one of those?
That might have been 3 hours. One of those long ones.
We'll have to look that up, because if it's a 3-hour movie, we got to get started early that we can do it in one night.
Yeah.
But we'll do each of the movies that I listed in turn, and we will always go with the oldest one and then move forward in time. So obviously the Abenteurer from 1929, the Secret Adversary from 1983, and then the that sad, pathetic, should have been so much better, Secret Adversary from 2015. So we'll always move forward like that.
Yep. So yes, tune in again every Thursday at 11:30 in the morning. If you need to, follow us on Instagram at Peschel lowercase press. We have a website, peschelpress.com. We'll end up putting up a schedule of what we're doing so you can follow along and like, share, and subscribe, as the kids say.
It's Peschel_press.
Okay, right. That is true.
I do the Instagram.
Yeah,
so
just Google the name. It'll show up.
Yeah, if you type in Peschel Press on Instagram or any search engine, we come up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And because this is live, or it's supposed to be live, if anybody ever actually watches this while we are actually doing this live, you can
you'll be able to comment if you
and
like.
I'll learn how to answer.
That's right. You'll have to subscribe to the channel in order to in order to comment. So,
you can't just tune in?
No, you could tune in, but the problem is that you'll get just anybody who's tuning in. If they decide to crap on the thread, well, I'd rather not have that, because we don't have moderators here. It's just you and me.
And we already have enough
screen,
work
and
to
we're going to
do.
have enough to do just try to keeping two thoughts together at the same time. So,
okay, I got it.
All right,
I got it.
Or maybe not. We're figuring it out.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. And I hope you'll join us for the ride. And I'm sure that we will get better at this, and we will get smoother and more professional, and we will get stylists and wardrobe and makeup. And, one can hope.
One can hope. Maybe even a background that doesn't look like my office. And
Yes.
this is an office, and that
This
means
is a working office,
it's a
and
working office under the stairs.
with no windows.
Mhm.
There are no windows anywhere because we are below grade, and that's why we have a fire extinguisher so that Bill could fight the flames to reach the stairs to escape if there was a fire.
Yep. All right. But thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the show, and well, we'll see you next week.
Yes, watch those Agatha Christie films.
Mhm. And bye-bye.